Hello, hello. So the time has come. I'm so happy to see everyone here connecting right now, and we're ready to go. My name is Jose Betancur. I work for Triario, and we have put together some valuable information about CRM, choosing the right tool for success. Because if you're right here watching us right now, you might be there. So joining us today, we have Dan Tyre. If we can put on the screen right now, Dan Tyre, are you there? Hey, Dan.
Boom! There we go. Jose, my friend, how are you doing?
Oh, it's so nice to have someone here, and I'm not speaking alone. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for inviting me.
No, it is my pleasure. It's such an honor. So, everyone, this is the one and only Dan Tyre. This guy has been working with CRMs for almost his entire life now. And he's the one to go when it comes. He knows the tricks and everything related to choosing the right tool when it comes to CRM. So, today we're going to talk about different topics all related to CRM. So the journey when you start and have to choose a CRM for your company, there's so many offer right there. It's not like 10 years ago where you just went and you only have few options, right? Right now you have so many options, it's overwhelming. Well, we're going to keep it short and very straightforward for you and keep the main points that you have to consider when choosing the right tool. So for today, we'll be talking about what is a CRM, types of CRMs, what is the difference between industry specific and general use CRMs, because you might be finding that if you already started this journey, right? And we'll also be talking about costs, the cost of implementation, the total cost of ownership, how are you able or not to scale if you're when you're choosing one CRM among the other one. And at the end of the session, we'll have questions and answers. So we have this scheduled for 1 hour, 10 minutes. We'll probably do lower than that. But let's get going and we'll see. Right? So now I already said this. This is the guy, Dan Tyre. Dan Tyre, you were like the sixth employee at HubSpot, right?
Amazing. Yes. I started HubSpot 17 years ago in 2007. I was the first salesperson, the first sales manager, the first sales director. I think I ran the international division for a small period of time until G2 decided to do it right. Right. Over the last 42 years, I've done 5 startups. My first one went over $1 billion. The second one, I started it as a small business owner, CEO and founder. Grew it to a $30 million company, sold it to a Phoenix-based company in 1997. My third company was a US-based nationwide training company. My fourth startup got bought out by Microsoft, and HubSpot's my fifth. So today I'm a mentor and advisor. I serve on 3 boards of directors. I speak about 50 times a year all over the world. Very excited to be in Colombia today for all of our LATAM English-speaking prospects and customers. I wrote a book called The Inbound Organization. I've invested in about 30 scale-up companies. I'm a sales coach, inbound fellow, and my guiding principle is to do the most good for the universe. And I want to make sure that we're being responsive. So if you have questions, right, if we're going too quick, if you don't understand like the terms that I use, put it in the comment section. Jose is really good at cycling back and making sure that we're delivering the right information to this group so that you can leave this webinar understanding what you need to know so that you pick the right CRM.
That is correct. And I love this quote right here, trying to do the most good for the universe.
I know. I stole that from my son. My son Eli is 28 years old, and he's an engineer, a researcher around AI safety. And when he dropped out of college, I'm like, no, you got to go to school. I was playing the dad card. He's like, Dad, all I want to do is the most good for the universe. I'm like, okay. Like there's not a lot a dad can do when your kid says that. So Eli has been hard at work saving the world from artificial intelligence ever since.
Well, that's great. Now, I'm also be joining this conversation right here. I don't have 5 startups and I still have a car I haven't been able to sell, right? But I've been working in tech for quite a while, and I've been working in HubSpot as in Triario as a chief revenue officer. Triario is HubSpot partner. We work with different CRMs to make our clients and our customers just thrive when they bring their digital strategies the strategies from marketing, sales, and customer service to the digital era, and that's quite a journey, right? I've been working on this for almost in marketing and sales for over 10 years. I'm very tech savvy. Been working as an advisor, board member. I'm a passionate educator. I love doing this. I find so much joy in learning and sharing, and this is basically what I'm doing right here, right now with you guys. So very thankful for that. Now, so we can get going. I'll pass it over to Dan because he's the one to go when it comes to CRM, right?
Easy or hard to pick a CRM as a scaling company? Put in the comment section whether you think it's easy or hard, right? Always interested in seeing what our listeners pop up. Some people are saying easy, some people are saying hard. It's a little bit of a trick question, right, Jose? Sometimes it depends on a variety of different factors, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next 45 minutes, right? Yep. The factors that you need to consider, right, and when you're picking the right CRM. And happy to walk through any questions that you have, guide you down the right path so that your understanding of all the key factors, so that you can weigh all those key factors. We'll answer any questions that you have, and hopefully you'll be ready to go.
Yeah, so we have very hard here. Hard, no, other people saying hard. I've seen customers say it's going to be easy. It's going to be a 1 week process. So there you go. You have different with different options right here.
Let me just make a point there, Jose, because those folks, Adrian and Alejandro, when they're saying it's hard, it's usually because they've done it before. And one of the things you're going to talk about, we're both going to talk about, is the change and migration of CRMs. Right? I'm going to do the last 30 years. You're going to do the last 15 because you're a little younger than I am, right? But we're going to talk about ways that it's changed, because it has changed and it's much different now.
Right. There you go. Now, what we'll be talking about, we'll be talking about CRM for entrepreneurs, why a CRM, which type of CRM you should choose one from the other, and 3 steps to just basically get the ball rolling in your company and get things going. And you might be concerned about, hey, wait, this seems too technical. I'm not a technical person. I might not be the person going through this. I need an IT guy join me and help me out here. Or this might be like out of my scope of work, maybe a little bit. Then we'll give you a piece of advice if that's the case.
Awesome. So we wanted to start with an example. And we wanted to start with an example that people could understand and internalize as a way of explaining why this is an important decision. So let's take the example from a customer's perspective. Let's say you Googled remodel bathroom Orlando, Florida, and you picked up the phone and you called the top search result that had the organic result of remodel bathroom Orlando, Florida. And let's say you talked to Roberto, and you had a really good conversation. First of all, it took you a little bit of time because you called the front desk, but finally you got Roberto. Roberto picks up the phone. He says, all right, where are you located? How old is the house? What kind of remodel are you thinking about? And he was nice enough to spend like 45 minutes with you on the phone, right? Gave you some answers to like some budgets and things like that. Asked a few important questions, sent you some follow-up information, and you were very, very appreciative. It gave you like a little perspective. And then you got busy. I know that never happens to you, Jose, right? You start something and then I know. I thought
have
so.
To finish it. I have to.
I know. This webinar is a perfect example. You got all excited. Let's do it. And then like things happen. And then we had to like move until Thursday. And then I got busy. And then let's say you called 9 weeks later, right? And you're looking for Roberto. And Roberto's out on a job site. And no one has any idea who you are, what your conversation was like, how you started that conversation. How does it make you feel, right? Put it in the chat how that makes you feel, right, from a customer perspective, right? Because I know how it makes my feel. I'm like, really? I spent 45 minutes with Roberto and I can't get to Roberto? And they're like, there's no notes. I didn't leave it anywhere. Now, let's think it from the rep's perspective, right? And Roberto, right? He's a busy guy, right? Do you think he remembers what you talked about 9 weeks ago? Do you think that he has all of those written specs and understanding? He wants to remember, right? He talks to 5 people a day, right? 9 weeks ago might as well be 2014, right? And he has no idea how to coordinate that information, how to continue the conversation, how to make sure that everybody's on the same page, right? Unless he's got it written down in his like notepad, right? It's going to be very, very hard for him to do it, right? And then let's look at it from the business perspective, right? If Roberto leaves or stubs his toe or is out just for a little bit of time, now all of a sudden you don't have that information. This is a customer that 9 weeks ago was doing investigation and wanted to find the information, but now they're ready to go. Now they're ready to start, and they can't find the background. They can't find the note, right? So I wanted to bring that as an example because I wanted our business owners to understand. Does that resonate with you? Put it in the chat pane if that resonates with you, that this is the reason for a CRM. From a customer's perspective, you want continuity of conversations. And this is kind of interesting, Jose, because in the old days, when you wanted to buy something, you just bought it, right? You went to a store, you talked to a person in a little collared shirt. You're like, I'm going to buy this software. I'm going to buy this copier. I'm going to buy this. And you just did it. Today, there's this concept of swarming. Have you ever heard the term swarming?
I have not.
Okay, it means that you'll cycle in, you'll get all excited. You'll spend 45 minutes with Roberto, and then you'll just stop. You'll move on. Something else becomes a more priority, and then you'll pick it up later. And because of that scenario, it happens a lot in the modern world, right? Keeping track of all the interactions, every single one, right? From suspect to prospect to engage prospect, all the way to customer and then engage customer, right, is critically important for the customer, for the business owner, and for the salesperson.
Now, adding on top of that, Dan, from a business perspective, also though, the cost of not having this information and the information right in place, somewhere you can go to and pick up where the other person, the rep, where Roberto left off, right? So how much money is it costing this business owner not to be able to engage, to pick up this lead, to just be able to close that deal just because you lost, the conversion just broke up, right? So yeah, that's like basically what we found there. And that's looking back in time, right? Now, if we move a little bit forward into the timeline, then what has happened in terms of like the evolution of those CRMs?
So amazing. The last big transformation shift we've had in core CRM was moving to the cloud 25 years ago, right? So like before cloud-based solutions, right? You had like floppy disks. Try explaining to somebody that's a millennial what a floppy disk was. You had premise software that you would buy servers and you'd actually load it up in your server room. Right. And then the idea, Salesforce was the first of putting it in the cloud. And people would say, no, we're never going to use cloud-based software. It's not safe. Doesn't have the right privacy. And they were wrong. But that was a huge movement that started 30 years ago. Then there was social CRM, right? Jose, you and I follow each other on social all the time. I get a lot of my information from social. It's a very important way. It's an important category. Lots of the features of CRMs, including HubSpot, have a social component. But then mobile came along, and mobile CRM didn't become really a category. So you got social, you got mobile, you've got move to the cloud. And then earlier this year, you have AI-assisted CRMs. And that is truly transformational. And it's very relevant to the CRM industry because it's at the core of productivity and performance. So rather than calling it AI assisted, right, the way HubSpot positioned it is a smart CRM. A smart CRM that is AI assisted, has AI, and what we're going to show you today has aspects of artificial intelligence, right? I was telling you in the briefing meeting, I use artificial intelligence via HubSpot 5 times an hour. Right. Every time I'm connecting with somebody, I'm doing my research, I'm understanding, I'm rewriting, and all of that is available to people in our conference call. Right. And Jose and somebody on his team can walk you through the content assistant and chatspot.ai of how you would utilize AI for your sales and marketing activities. But a smart CRM is a modern CRM that includes AI. Now, I wanted to just touch on why a CRM. Right? Because we talked a little bit about the problem statement, but if you have more than 10 customers, right, you have to keep track of everything. That multimodal, multi-departmental kind of process, right, is very, very hard. That stop, start is the new ways customers buy. And the key to that is data. Because if I call back 9 weeks later and I am covering for Roberto and I go in and I find you, Jose, and I say, oh, Roberto put all these notes in. He said that you're in East Orlando. He said that you want to do 1,000 square foot remodel. And he said that you are ready to, you want it completed by the end of the year. Now, all of a sudden, see what I just did there? I moved to a completely different area. And that is all the foundational technology that's important, right? So there's a lot of CRM options, but the ones that I think are important, I think most people agree that number one, it should be easy to use, right? That is, even old guys like me should be able to jump in and be productive very, very quickly. Number two, it should be easy to deploy. The reason why many of our listeners are saying it's so hard to deploy a CRM is when you did it in 2002, it was expensive. It was hard. It changed the way people sold, and you lost productivity for like 6 months. Now you can spin up a CRM tomorrow, right? And Jose, you and your team can show folks how to do that very, very easily. A smart CRM is perfect for solo entrepreneurs and all the way up to enterprise, right? It has a world-class code base. It has HubSpot security. It's got privacy. It's no charge education, partner ecosystem, and the HubSpot CRM starts at free, right? So there are more smart CRMs than just HubSpot, but it is a leading smart CRM. And we'll talk a little bit about the steps to acceptance a little bit later.
Yeah, so that's really great to hear. So basically, to recap what you just said, there was a time where there was these tools coming in to basically just gather and centralize information of the customer. So everything that was happening, maybe the first thing you saw was emails, right? We're jumping in, then the notes and all those records we were just able to keep track of them. That was like stage one, right? Then we saw the second phase when we saw all these social CRMs, and then they started evolving a little more, becoming smarter. And now we have this boom of AI just jumping into it. Just maybe to solve the doubts, or maybe AI is a very wide and complex concept, right? So in 30 seconds, what is AI? Why is AI relevant to a CRM?
Because it will greatly increase your productivity and reduce the redundancy of the salesperson doing something over and over again. I've seen salespeople spend 4 hours writing a 2-line email, just 2 sentences and 4 hours, right? Or you could put it into a AI through ChatSpot.ai, rewrite that in, 12 seconds, and it's perfect, right? And as more and more salespeople incorporate this, before I call any customers, either for a customer satisfaction call or a prospecting call, I go to ChatSpot.ai. I look at that company. It shows me the research in 10 seconds. Now, all of a sudden, I have all the relevant information. So I'm always asking chief revenue officers, Jose, do you think there are opportunities that are falling through the cracks?
Oh, the answer is almost always yes.
Have you ever seen anybody who said, no, I get all 100% certainty, 100% of my opportunity? They don't, right? And they know it, right? And so a CRM and a smart CRM helps increase productivity and productivity. It helps ensure that things aren't falling through the cracks because you can track everything. And it does so without adding layers and layers of individual and personal effort, so that it's easier for your salespeople to spend more time with connection. And let's face it, salespeople, they like to talk, right? I'm a perfect example. And they like to spend time connecting with folks, right? Rather than doing paperwork. So a smart CRM is going to do it all for you, right? Jose is going to explain to you how you connect your email into your smart CRM. So every time you send an email, it's automatically recorded in your CRM. Right? When you do a Zoom like this, you can pop it up and take the notes automatically. When you're on a phone call, you can call through your CRM, right? And it will do the translation if it's both Spanish as well as English. It will help you understand the relevant points. The AI will also summarize the conversation with the key points. Oh my goodness. Right? When I say that, people are like, I don't believe it. And then we show how it works and they're like, okay. That's pretty slick. And that is why 2023 is really the best time to invest in a CRM that's going to increase productivity, increase proficiency, and help people make the right decision.
Okay. Now, some of our customers and some of the people in our audience might not even be there yet or thinking that much forward in terms of AI. But I'll tell you one thing that if you're here watching us, you might be encountering, and that is, if you're in let's say, a real estate industry or construction or insurance, you might be facing certain struggles right now. And if you're in the journey, if you have already started the journey of choosing a CRM, you might find solutions that seem to be very industry specific, right? Like you see, wow, these people just thought of me. They know exactly the in and outs of my business. They know exactly how I run my operations every day. And you find like those type of tools. But then you meet other tools that seem to have so many functionality that you didn't even think of. And it starts like, just things that start adding up, and you understand, okay, maybe this works better with my marketing. These also can connect me with my customer service team, and you have like different tools. So that's two different types of CRMs. You'll find there in the market and doing your research that you find industry specific and general use CRMs. Now, we put 4 key points here to consider when you're comparing one with the other. The first one is easy to set up. You will see that industry-specific CRMs are really, really easy to set up, basically because they already did it for you, right? You just do a couple of clicks, so that you don't have to invest a lot of time there, and you're ready to go. Now, the general use CRMs, like HubSpot, Salesforce, the big logos that you see there, they normally require a lot more customization just to make it fit your exact use case. And that's the time and an investment you have to do at the beginning. Now, when you talk about, is it going to fit all the areas of my company? Is it going to fit my marketing, my customer service, my billing team? Now, industry specific are normally, in my experience, very good for sales teams, but they're not good for the rest of the company. They think a lot on selling, but not how the entire journey connects to their marketing, their sales, their customer service, their billing, etc. So that's actually that's where the general use CRMs come in, because they have built all this buyer's journey interactions and systems together into one place, and that's where they actually shine. In terms of the third element, which is flexibility, you'll find that industry specific is very rigid. Like if you needed to switch something, or maybe this is not the trigger, maybe I don't want this email, maybe I want an email to be sent when the lead comes in, or things like that, maybe that's not possible because they haven't built that functionality on top of that. You basically have to do what you have out of the box. Now, the general use CRMs are super flexible. You just make they're just built in a certain way so it fits any industry with some customization. And the last one is cost effectiveness. Now, right now, to be honest, in terms of cost, you will find all ranges of prices. Industry-specific CRM normally could be very inexpensive when you have a low amount of users, but as you scale up, it ends up being super expensive. The general use CRMs can have all type of pricing. From HubSpot has a free license and also an enterprise, and you have like all ranges of price depending on how complex your technical stack is and basically what you gotta achieve, right? And here's a good example. When you're when you're talking about industry specific CRMs, you'll find like really simple system, radios, Neon, and then you're talking about like insurance, real estate, construction, a nonprofit. I believe Neon is nonprofit. Now, general use CRMs, we're talking about HubSpot, we're talking about Salesforce, Zoho, Pipedrive, and all these tools that have invested so much into this just to make it work for you and make scaling in the future. Easy and frictionless process, basically. Right? What can you add to that, Dan?
So when you're first starting out, it's usually better to get a general use CRM because you don't know what you don't know. After deploying a CRM, right, and getting people used to working online, you may choose to go to a industry specific, but it's a much different decision, right? Going to a industry specific right off the bat is usually not recommended because there's a special way that they expect you to do it. And Catalina asked a great question. How do you make your salespeople fall in love with your CRM? And that is, you show the productivity gains. You show that it's going to actually make it easier for them to research, to connect, and spend more time selling. If anyone is on their CRM entering information manually, right, there's no way that's going to get done. That's no way it's going to increase productivity, and it's detracting from their ability to connect, right? So a smart CRM has all these integrations that Jose and I are going to talk about. It's easy to use. It's easy to figure out, right? It's easy to understand, and it increases rep productivity right from the get-go. Right. So many times when people are just starting out, we say, take 2 salespeople, 2 or 3 salespeople, right? Or you and 1 salesperson, and let's just try it. Right. You could deploy HubSpot CRM like overnight. Jose can show you how to download it. He can show you how to get started. He can give you the no cost training to get started. Right. And then as they use it, they're like, wow, this is pretty easy. This is meets all the requirements that I have. I use HubSpot CRM every single day. And if I have a question, I'm like, maybe I can figure this out. And there's support in the product. So if I have a question, I can just tap in the chat and somebody will respond to me where I'm at. So for me, when you're getting started, when you're moving from spreadsheets or index cards over to a CRM, I'm a strong believer in a inexpensive, flexible CRM that actually improves a salesperson's productivity, and HubSpot falls into that.
That is, I couldn't agree more to that, Dan. Just if you see the value and you see that you're saving time and money while you're using it, then I'm in. Like, I'm ready to go, and that's the best way to just basically get the buy-in of the rest of your team, including your sales reps, when it comes to jumping on a new tool as a CRM, right?
All right, so Andres asked another good question. This chat pane is blowing up, Jose. It's awesome. He's like, okay, but why HubSpot other than another smart CRM? Number one, you don't have to pay in advance. HubSpot CRM starts at free. Now, there's services that you'll hire from Jose and his team to make it customized directly for you, right? But the HubSpot CRM has always been free and will continue to be free forever, right? Number two, it's new technology. Right. Some of these other options for general use CRMs are 30 years old. Right. And they were excellent in the 1990s. Right. But modern technology for privacy, for ease of use, for ability to coordinate the way salespeople work today. It was Alejandra who said, my reps use WhatsApp all the time. Right. And does the HubSpot CRM integrate with WhatsApp? Of course, right? You have to integrate with SMS. You have to integrate with email. And Jose and I'll spend a little bit of time talking about integrations at the end of this program, right? So simple, easy to use, get all of the right reports, helpful for the manager, helpful for the executive, increased productivity for the salesperson. That's 1 + 1 = like 14.
Right. And you mentioned something very important, which is cost. And that leads me to the next slide, which is the total cost of ownership. Now, this is where it gets really good. When it comes to CRM, you'll encounter different factors that actually end up adding and making your bill at the end of the year higher, right? It's not only the cost of the CRM itself, but also you have to pay for the implementation or the initial setup if you're getting someone to help you out there. If the tool does not connect to the rest of your ecosystem, then you might need to integrate it or operate with your tools disconnected, which is not good at all, right? And then the technical support to it. So not only thinking of the cost of the tool itself, but also thinking forward a year or 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. CRM is normally a long-term investment, and you want to understand all the factors are right there. So I'll cover some of this right away, just because, having it all mapped out is going to make a decision a lot easier. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the CRM costs, because you might already been there and you have seen some numbers. But things to consider, the first one is going to be implementation. Now, implementation is the process you actually get the tool ready for you to use. And hold up, yes, normally, I mean, you have CRM there, you basically just plug and play and go there and just do it. But if you want to understand, I'm going to jump on Jessica's question just in a minute. If you want to actually be a good fit for your exact sales process or the way you manage things, you need to do a little bit of setup. So implementation is always something you do. You either buy it from the CRM company, in this case HubSpot, or you do like any other CRM companies such as Salesforce. Normally they offer different solutions, or you go through a partner. That's our case. We are Trario, and what we do, we help customers are in this process of acquiring a new tool, and we just help them out setting this up, right? And that's like one cost that you need to be mindful of. The second one are integrations. Now, a tool might look cheaper if you do not if you do not consider the cost of having it connected to the rest of your ecosystem. And I mean, you're using different bunch of tools, right? You're using Slack, Gmail, your calendar, you're using WhatsApp, you're using a ton of tools right there. Now you want to have them all connected there. HubSpot has a whole marketplace with already native integrations and apps you can connect with a couple of clicks, and that makes your operation, your sales, your marketing, your customer service just run faster, smoother, just because their apps are already there, right? And the third one is going to be support. So Dan already mentioned that, and support is something you kind of like not consider right away. But as you are driving that new car, this new CRM, you're already there, and things just come up, and you need help to set something up. Something just seem not to be working properly, and you need to ask for help. So I've seen some CRMs actually charge you a premium to have access to their customer support. Others have it included. And sometimes when you need a more personalized experience and someone you can actually call to, or get in a call with you and do things for you, click for you and do things for you, you actually need to have support from a partner or a third party. So these are like factors that you have to consider to have it all set. And in case something comes up, there's someone backing you up, right? Now, Jessica is asking right here. So could you provide insights into the typical costs associated with CRM implementation and maintenance? Yeah. So that is basically this. There's three things that I mentioned right here. And the concept is called total cost of ownership. When you compare one tool to another over a 5-year period, the results are impressive and is very insightful. Some CRMs are so complex to manage over time that the price per hour of a technical expert can be $400, $300, $500. And if you think of how much help would I need over time from these people to help me set this up, then you might need a couple tens or hundreds of hours a year. So that's going to add up to your bill, right?
Let me just add a few things. Number one, HubSpot, as a HubSpot employee, we prefer that you do your implementation with Jose and his team. Number one, we want them to get to build this partnership for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can explain your current sales process. And Catalina asked, what's the best way to get your salespeople to fall in love with the CRM? And that is to move them towards a smart CRM without changing their process too much, right? You don't want them to have to move from their email system to something else. So HubSpot Smart CRM works with all kinds of email systems. You don't want to change too many of your deal stages, right? So you can explain the deal stages, and then Jose can map the reports and the funnel and pipeline reports directly to the current deal stages you have. And it's relatively simple, right? And then you want an intuitive UI of something that's easy to use, even for people who aren't familiar with technology. So for me, let me give you 3 use cases. Do I have time to give 3 use cases of how I use Smart CRM and HubSpot when I'm going out and getting new customers?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first is prospecting. right? And with chatspot.ai that comes with the HubSpot CRM, right? I'm able to find all healthcare companies in Bogota with at least 150 employees that have been in business since 2018, right? And that is a prompt in the chatspot.ai, which is the HubSpot implementation of artificial intelligence, that you can set any parameters, right? You could just do Bogota, you could do all of Colombia, you could do all of the surrounding areas. It's up to you, right? All of that information becomes available in seconds. And then there's a little button that says, push to enter into the HubSpot CRM. So the full company is now added as a prospect right in your CRM just by doing that search. All you have to do is put the parameter. Now, before you call that company, right, there's a little button that says research. And when I push that button, it shows me all the information that is core about that company. When they started, who their senior executives are, what their URL is, what the information is. I can even get what technology they're using. So when I contact them via phone, I'm like, oh, Jose, I see that you're using HubSpot as a way of connecting, right? That research saves me a ton of time. I have both LinkedIn as well as the HubSpot AI research set up. That is a great way to engage. Second is what we call sequences. Put in the chat pane if you've ever sent a prospecting email to somebody and then forgot about it. I like trying to prospect Jose's company, and I send him an email, and then I get busy, right? I have to fly to another city, or there's something that's going on, and then I just forget, right? With HubSpot sequences, which is part of the Smart CRM, right? You have the ability to cycle in and set up 4, 6, as many as you want, separate, customizable, personalized emails. Not the same like marketing email where it says, dear customer. It's personalized information that drips directly to the prospect. So if Jose responds back to me and says, yes, let's set up an appointment, he automatically is taken off the list. The Smart CRM does all of that key background and information to make sure that you can be more productive and efficient. And then the third one is writing those sales emails, right? Where you're using the ability to cycle in, and rather than a salesperson writing their own emails, will surmise what has happened in the last meeting. You can press a button and you can make it shorter, more concise. You could make it more technical. You can make it funnier, right? Whatever approach you want to do, right? So that you can get the maximum time of your salespeople actually working with the customer, building that relationship and getting better.
That's great. Now, Selma has a good question, and it's sometimes at the company, we can see the marketing and sales team don't get along very well and communicate. What benefits does HubSpot offer?
Amazing. What a great question. Did you see this question for Salome? Because that's a stand-up question. At HubSpot, we have what's called schmarketing. You ever hear the term schmarketing, Jose?
And we do that, and we operate through.
Okay. You know who invented schmarketing?
It was HubSpot, right?
I did, right? No, it's not HubSpot. It's me. I was working with our CMO, and we are starting to get these inbound leads. And I'm like, no. These inbound leads are very, very valuable. In 2007, I'm like, it's not sales. It's not marketing. It's schmarketing. Sales and marketing pushed together. It doesn't stand for smart marketing. It stands for sales and marketing working together. And to my previous point, right? When you are looking to remodel your bathroom, you might get all excited and then you might ghost the remodeling company for 9 weeks. If you can go back and you can see that listing, if you can see all those notes, you have a huge competitive advantage, right? If I don't come back in 9 weeks, that lead now belongs to marketing, and marketing can coordinate, right? Sales or marketing, if you're not using the same information, right? Marketing is always in the doghouse. Sales always gets all the glory, right? They do great, and you get more headcount, you get more budget. Yeah. And if you're not doing great, it's marketing's fault, right? You're always blaming marketing. Either you don't have enough leads or you have too many leads and you don't know who to call, right? But with marketing now, marketing can see the attribution of every step, right? They can see which blog articles, which YouTube channels, which pieces of content really made a difference, right? And it becomes much easier for marketers to get more headcount, to get a bigger budget, because marketers play a huge role in getting people to the website in the beginning, of nurturing those leads that aren't ready to move directly into a decision-making mode, and making sure that they're sharing the load with the sales department.
Great. Now, there's something related to that, just to wrap that, just to summarize that question. And normally, what I see from a customer perspective is those points where you have to sort of like align with your, if you're working marketing, you have to align with your sales team. There's a bunch of things there, from the way that you deliver the deals or the leads to your sales team, the amount of information they're able to see and keep track of inside the CRM, but also reporting. So all of that, all of those ends are just connected when you're using the proper tool. And that's when you want to go for a general use CRM such as HubSpot instead of an industry specific.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. A smart CRM will integrate more closely with your marketing function, right? The whole idea of the HubSpot 6 hubs is it's crafted, not cobbled. What that means is they're all the same code base. The marketing views look a little bit different than the sales views, but it's all one central point of truth, which makes it super easy to make sure that people aren't pointing fingers.
Now, the following topic is very good. So common mistakes. So I brought 3, and I'll pass it over to Dan maybe to add, to elaborate a little bit on this. But when I'm talking to customers and leads every day, and they're on this through this process, I see 3 things that basically are the things to watch out for. So the first one is not getting your team on board. This normally is a decision that's going to involve is going to impact your sales, marketing, customer service, IT. So you want to keep the people, these people on board, just for them to know exactly what's going on, especially if you're working closely with them. It doesn't mean that it's going to make your decision slower or they're going to be like the one managing it, but you want them to know that there's something coming and it's not going to be just a surprise. And then gave a good example before, and is that the best way to get the buy-in from your sales team is basically getting them on the new tool without changing their process. So they want to know, they want to have peace of mind that this is not going to change the way they operate. Because if it's working, then why would you change it, right? So they want to have this is going to be on top of that. The second common mistake that I find is not considering the long-term investment. A company would just hire a CRM and go back and come back to us a year after and say you know what, we had made a decision in the past and we didn't consider this and that as being an investment, and it was much higher than we expected. So we want to have a good idea, and I'll consider the total cost of ownership that we mentioned previously, right? And the third one is going all at once. Now, it will be amazing. It will be just a dream to have everything running smoothly, plug and play, and I have all my marketing, sales, customer service, my billing team just working on the CRM and all my process automated, and boom, everything will be perfect. The bad news is that it doesn't work like that. The good news is if you start with little steps, you'll be able to see small wins and get engaged and gain track and be ready to do the following step. And out of nowhere and before you notice, you'll be running all your processes going to be all automated. It doesn't happen in 1 month, 2 or 3. It all normally takes longer than that, but you'll eventually get there. So don't aim to have it all at once, and rather just think of what would be a good quick win for me. Like if I had this in a 90-day period, that will make me feel comfortable that I made the right choice, and go for that and try to aim that throughout the implementation that you do with your partner. Now, Dan.
It's a great idea, Jose. Let me just throw in 2 things. Number 1, you should always know the quota for your company. That is the forecast amount of new business and the number of new customers you want to bring in and the revenue. And when you're talking to a senior CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, or Vice President of Sales, you ask them, would you like some help in meeting your quota or exceeding your quota? If somebody asks you that, Jose, what would you say?
Of course.
They're like, yeah, how can you help me? You're like, well, number 1, if we work together, I can bring in more qualified leads. Do you need more qualified leads? And the person's eyes will bug out. They're like, yes, I will. I'm up for that. And they're like, number 2, we want to make sure that no opportunities are falling through the cracks. You ask that question. Do you think opportunities are falling through the cracks? They'll say yes. Like, what we want to do is make sure we have tighter alignment. And the only way we can do it is if we move to a smart CRM. That is going to record all the outreach, all the emails, all the calls, so that when your salespeople go home at night, you're not held hostage for the information because it's in their notebook rather than in a online repository. Right. And then I would go to a salesperson. I would ask the same questions. Number one, do you need help hitting your quota? Number two, would you like more qualified leads? Number three, would you like to be more efficient with your time? Right. And Jose can give you the talk track so that you can engage with the sales team. If you get the top executive and one or two of the smaller of the individual contributors, it goes a long way towards winning the hearts and minds of the people who are involved in actually using it. And once you get two people on board, you should be able to measure their productivity, even if they're brand new. Right. So that you should be able to see the activities and the way in which they're spending their time so that you compare and contrast those with people who are not using a smart CRM.
Right. And that's a good way to start this. 3 steps to choosing a right CRM. Then what do you have to say about it?
All right. These are your slides. You know this as well as I do. Number one, you define your sales processes. Right. There's all these things that people do when they hand off a lead. This also has to do with sales and marketing alignment, which was one of the comments that one of our YouTube watchers have talked about, right? So a sales process is how you identify, engage, and move to close or start a relationship with somebody, right? We call that the HubSpot flywheel, right? And you want to understand who is responsible for the outreach. Usually, it starts with identifying a good fit customer. That's marketing's responsibility, the ideal customer profile and the persona. Then that outreach is usually done by the sales organization. They'll try to connect with somebody. By the way, today in the United States, you have to reach out 6 times, leave 6 voicemails, and send 6 emails, at least 2 video emails before somebody will respond. That's the science behind actually doing it. Right. And then the ability for you to understand if they respond, then it's a sales pursuit. It can go into the pipeline. If they don't respond, that lead goes back to marketing. Right. That's the yin and yang that goes back and forth. Right. That is why sales and marketing or schmarketing makes more sense. Right. So you define those sales processes of when you're handing off from sales to marketing, back to marketing. When sales closes the deal, how you get that over to service so that everybody understands what the critical touch points are. Then you get 1, 2, or 3 tech-savvy salespeople who want to make their life easier. And you're like, you're doing this anyway. We're just going to do it online, and it's going to be easier for you because all you've got to do is send an email, and the contacting company automatically shows up at HubSpot. All you got to do when you are looking for more people to call is you use chatspot.ai and push the button that says add to HubSpot, right? And once you get a core group of people who are like, okay, this isn't that hard. Why were you guys so worried that we weren't going to use this? Now you have internal verification, internal support. It'd be easier for more people to jump on board, right? Then you have this dynamic where people are like, how come Jose and Dan have a smart CRM and I still have to use like a notebook or paper? And you're like, okay, we're going to deploy to more people, but it's a completely different dynamic than trying to shove it down somebody's throat.
And then I love this third point right here. Start small and scale. That's always the way to go and makes it comprehensible, gives you time to understand the value and get creative. Like the more you get to know the tool you're using, the more ideas you just have coming from the back of your head and like, oh, maybe I can do this also. Maybe I can automate this process. Oh, they've been struggling with this. Then can I also nurture leads while they're on the sales process? Then what they store this information, I'm able to do some email marketing to those leads as they're after they get their quote from the sales team. Things like that are just very good use cases that you actually can do when you have everything connected here.
Super smart. Stefania asked a really good question. Does the CRM allow reps to connect their calendar? And yes, you connect your email and your calendar, right? So that every appointment that you have, right, can be incorporated into the timeline, right? You want to see from a pipeline perspective and an individual deal perspective, the number of meetings. And artificial intelligence can summarize those meetings in a way in which a manager can see what was accomplished in these meetings. And then, isn't that amazing?
That's great. And Andres has a very good question. Hi, guys. What are the best practices for migrating data from an existing CRM to a new one? That's great. And I'll be happy to take that one because I see that every single day. Now, when you have a CRM and you want to move it to another one, the first thing that you need to know is that it's not like you just turn off and turn on. You have both platforms are going to be active for a certain period of time. That's the first thing you need to know, so that you're able to migrate and connect all that information. There are normally two ways that you could actually migrate information from one CRM to another one. The first one is manually, which is through spreadsheets. Sometimes you just export the information from one system and put it in a certain format, so you're able to import it to the new one. That's like old school and the way you do it, right? And sometimes when there's no other way, you just go with that option. But option two, which is available in CRM such as HubSpot, is that you are able to, through the same system, the CRM, click through it and be able to connect to your account on that other CRM and bring information through the API. Basically, it's going to be all automated and stored there, and properties or fields are going to be mapped out automatically, and the process is going to take just a couple of minutes. So that's the way you want to go, but you only find that if we're talking about like a well-known CRM, such as maybe HubSpot, Salesforce. All these tools have that. If you're going for an industry-specific CRM, I'll tell you that migration might be a struggle. Sometimes you actually have to contact their direct tech support and send all the information to them, because no one else is able to do it but them. And you want to have control of your CRM, right? So you rather have these capacities on your end, and you're able to do it by yourself.
That's why I strongly recommend that you use a partner like Jose, because that integration is not easy. Mapping the fields, the forms, migrating all that data typically takes a little bit of time and adjustment. And so two things that Jose said that were really smart. Number one, start small and engage and grow. And number two, work with a partner so that you have your integrations successful, because it'll pay huge dividends down the road. All right, so we wanted to give away some free stuff. You didn't have that in the agenda, Jose. You said that the listeners to this webinar liked free stuff. Put in the chat pane if our listeners today like free stuff.
Who doesn't, right?
I know. Jose, you're really funny. It's a setup, right? And so the HubSpot CRM, something for everybody, right? You can get the HubSpot CRM for free. Jose can explain how you do it, right? You can go right to the website and download it, or he can send you the link. Right. Your second call is should be to Jose to understand and map out a plan for either choosing or selecting a smart CRM, and he can walk through the different types and the different options. Right. You can also go to chatspot.ai, which is free. CHAT.ai. And you'll see all of the information. If you're a HubSpot user, we put our artificial intelligence directly into the CRM. So when you see your profile, it's actually built in the technology, which makes it a lot easier, right? Especially for salespeople to use.
Yeah, and we will follow with an email that you'll be able to just click there and go to HubSpot's webpage and activate your own portal if you want to get creative, start playing around, and see if this is going to fit or not for you.
Jessica has a great question here. What emerging trends should businesses be aware when it comes to CRM technology? Number one, safe and secure. You can go to status at HubSpot.com. Has all of the security information, all the privacy information. HubSpot has 180,000 paying customers in, I think it's 122 countries, and you can see all that information. Number two, you want to make sure that a smart CRM is AI assisted, right? Easy to use, easy to deploy, easy to expand, easy to work with marketing, right? Easy to work with customer service, because the concept in 2023 is the flywheel of engaging customers in a way that there's that connection and continuity, so that they feel valued and are supported by your organization.
Mm-hmm. So in adding to that, if you are on a conversation right now with a sales rep from any CRM company, then ask them, how is artificial intelligence going to leverage and make my process more efficient if I decided to go and use this tool? That is a very fantastic question that you should be worried about right now, because this is going so fast and you shouldn't be spending a lot of time on things you were spending your time a year ago, right? So yeah, that's a good question. Now, if there's any other question, just go ahead and send it over through the chat. We'll be happy to solve them out. I believe that over this webinar, we already solved everything, and it was very interactive. Actually, I'm glad that everyone.
That's amazing. You got attracted a very good audience. We are at your service, right? Jose and I wanted to bring to you the foundations of choosing a CRM. Number one, you have to move to a CRM at some point in time. Sometimes people are still on spreadsheets and writing down on their notepad, right? They just think, I'm never going to have to do it, but you are going to have to do it. If you go more than 10 customers, right, it's almost impossible to keep track of that. And most companies that we engage with want to grow, right? And so you have to move to a CRM. Number two, it's easier to move now rather than when you have a lot more data, right? So start small and pick a smart CRM that expands with you as your company grows. And three, you will not regret it. If you pick the right smart CRM that is easy to use, easy to implement, easy to grow, right, you will be very excited that you're no longer beholden to your notepad and or using spreadsheets.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, if you think like you need help, there's questions regarding this process that you want to sort out, then reach out to me through my LinkedIn or my email and reach out to us through our webpage. And we'll be very happy to help you out through that. Now, we have one last comment right here. It's difficult to track the activities that my sales team do. Do you have some reports that show me what are the tokens they are doing?
Of course. Okay. Yeah, you can see how many calls everybody's doing in a daily dashboard, weekly dashboard, monthly dashboard, quarterly dashboard, annual dashboard. You can see the number of emails they're sending. You can see the number of meetings they set up. You can see their individual pipeline. You can see all that data by salesperson, by sales team, by division, by company, right? It's all the same data, right? And if you are using a smart CRM, right, you can combine all that information with the right reports to ensure that you have good management oversight of all the key objectives.
Yeah, and we always worry about the bottom line, like how much are we selling, right? But we take a step back, we want to know productivity. So all these activities, emails, tasks, notes, everything's should be stored in your CRM. HubSpot allows you to do it pretty easily, right? And it's going to be connected without having to do extra clicks. So that's also very important. You don't have to do an extra process to get those records inside your CRM. So guys, thank you so much for your time. I hope you're taking away something valuable out of this, that this helped you out and you're in a better position than 1 hour ago when you started. And if you have any questions, just reach out to us. I'm Jose, Dan Tyre right here. And we'll be very happy to sort it out if you have any other question in the future. Have a great, fantastic day. And we'll see you on our next event. So we'll keep in contact through email. So watch out. Bye-bye.